No one lasted more than a single day. Some quit before lunch, others walked away in tears, and a few never returned after their first shift. The staff at Blackwood Manor had stopped asking why. Everyone already knew the answer. The billionaire's 8-year-old daughter, Lily Blackwood, had become the child no one could handle. Ever since her mother died 2 years earlier, she had turned every nanny, tutor, chef, and caregiver into another defeated stranger. She screamed, broke expensive antiques, refused to eat, and locked herself in rooms for hours. Newspapers called her the richest little nightmare in America, while gossip magazines blamed her father, billionaire hotel magnate Jonathan Blackwood, for raising a spoiled princess. But the truth was far more heartbreaking. Lily wasn't cruel. She was broken. Jonathan buried himself in billion-dollar deals because facing his daughter's grief felt impossible. Money solved every business problem, yet none of it could heal the little girl waiting every night for a mother who would never return. One rainy evening, Jonathan visited one of his luxury hotels after an investor meeting. Exhausted, he sat quietly in the restaurant while Lily sulked beside him, refusing to touch her dinner. Employees whispered nervously. They had seen this scene before. Any moment, another public disaster would begin. Suddenly, a waitress carrying coffee accidentally brushed against the edge of Lily's chair. A glass tipped over, sending water splashing across the white tablecloth. The dining room fell silent. Everyone expected Lily's famous explosion. Instead of apologizing frantically, the waitress simply looked at the frightened child instead of the billionaire. She knelt beside Lily and softly smiled. "Looks like the table was thirsty too," she joked gently. Lily stared without speaking. The waitress calmly grabbed a few napkins and began making tiny paper boats. She floated one in the puddle of spilled water. "Captain Lily, we have a flood. We need your help." Several guests watched in disbelief. Jonathan frowned, expecting another screaming fit. Instead, something unbelievable happened. Lily reached forward, picked up another napkin, and tried folding her own paper boat. It wasn't perfect, but for the first time in months she smiled. The entire restaurant froze. Jonathan couldn't believe his eyes. The girl who terrified every adult was laughing over paper boats, floating across a wet tablecloth. After dinner, Jonathan stopped the waitress before she left. Her name tag read Emma Carter. She explained she had once cared for her younger brother after losing both parents, so she understood that children often hide pain behind anger. Jonathan immediately offered her 10 times her restaurant's salary to become Lily's full-time caregiver. Emma refused. She said children weren't business deals and trust couldn't be bought. Jonathan was stunned. Almost everyone chased his money. Emma simply asked for one condition. She would only help if Jonathan promised to spend at least 1 uninterrupted hour with Lily every single day. No meetings. No phone calls. No assistants. Just father and daughter. After a long silence, Jonathan agreed. The next morning Emma arrived at Blackwood Manor. The staff secretly laughed, betting she wouldn't survive until sunset. Within hours Lily tested her. She threw paint across the walls, hid Emma's shoes, refused breakfast, and shouted that everyone always left her. Emma never yelled. She simply cleaned beside Lily without complaint, and quietly asked if the paint colors reminded her of the pictures her mother used to draw. Lily suddenly stopped shouting. That evening Emma discovered dozens of unfinished drawings hidden beneath Lily's bed. Every picture showed the same smiling woman holding her daughter's hand. Emma understood immediately. Lily wasn't fighting people. She was fighting loneliness. Meanwhile, Jonathan watched security footage expecting disaster. Instead, he saw Emma sitting silently beside Lily without forcing conversation. Sometimes healing wasn't about saying the perfect words. Sometimes it was simply refusing to walk away. For the first time since his wife's funeral, Jonathan canceled an important overseas business call just to keep the promise he had made. He entered Lily's room carrying an old family photo album. Father and daughter slowly turned each page together while Emma quietly slipped away, knowing the greatest miracle wasn't something she could do. It was bringing 2 hearts back to each other. But none of them realized someone else was watching. Jonathan's ambitious business partner, Victor Hale, had secretly planned to declare Jonathan mentally unfit to lead the company by using Lily's behavior against him. Now, seeing the impossible transformation begin, Victor knew he had to act before the family's healing destroyed the scheme he had spent months preparing. The next morning, Victor Hale launched the first step of his plan. During a board meeting, he argued that Jonathan Blackwood's recent decisions showed emotional instability. He pointed to cancelled business trips, delayed investments, and the sudden hiring of an ordinary waitress to care for the billionaire's daughter. Several board members exchanged worried looks. Victor smiled confidently. He believed Jonathan's love for Lily had become a weakness he could exploit. What he didn't know was that true leadership begins at home. While the board debated Jonathan's future, Emma was helping Lily plant flowers in the neglected garden behind the mansion. Every flower represented a happy memory of Lily's mother. At first, Lily struggled to remember anything without crying, but Emma gently encouraged her to tell stories instead of hiding them. Soon the little girl was laughing as she recalled how her mother once burned pancakes trying to make breakfast and accidentally covered the kitchen in flour. For the first time in years, the mansion echoed with joyful laughter instead of angry shouting. Jonathan arrived early from work and found Lily covered in dirt, proudly holding a tiny sunflower. "This one is for Mom," she whispered. Tears filled Jonathan's eyes. He realized he had spent years trying to protect his daughter from pain when what she truly needed was someone willing to walk through it beside her. That evening, Jonathan surprised everyone by eating dinner with Lily without checking his phone once. Emma quietly watched from the kitchen, knowing her promise had been fulfilled. But happiness rarely comes without a test. The following afternoon, Victor arranged for several reporters to gather outside Blackwood Manor. He expected another public meltdown from Lily that would destroy Jonathan's reputation forever. Instead, Lily stepped outside holding Emma's hand. The reporters shouted cruel questions about her mother and called her the problem child billionaire. Jonathan rushed forward, ready to shield his daughter, but before he could speak, Lily took a deep breath. "I'm not a problem," she said softly. "I was just sad because I miss my mom. Miss Emma taught me that it's okay to cry and still keep smiling." Silence fell over the crowd. Cameras captured not a spoiled little girl, but a brave child finding her voice. The emotional moment spread across television and social media within hours. Millions of people praised Jonathan for finally putting his daughter before business. Public support skyrocketed, and the board immediately withdrew Victor's proposal. Furious, Victor made one final desperate move. He secretly offered Emma a fortune to leave the Blackwood family, believing Lily would fall apart without her. Emma looked at the contract, smiled politely, and tore it in half. "Some things are worth more than money," she said. "A little girl's trust can't be bought." Jonathan happened to overhear the conversation. In that moment, he understood that Emma had given his family something no amount of wealth could ever purchase: a second chance. Weeks later, Jonathan organized a charity gala for grieving children who had lost a parent. Instead of inviting celebrities to give speeches, he asked Lily to stand beside him. Nervous but determined, she looked across the crowded ballroom and smiled. "When my mom died, I thought everyone would leave me," she began. "Some people did. But one waitress stayed. She didn't give me expensive gifts. She gave me her time. Then my dad gave me his time too. That's when my heart started getting better." Many guests wiped away tears. Even the toughest business leaders stood and applauded. Jonathan then walked to the stage and made an announcement that stunned everyone. He established the Blackwood Hope Foundation, funding counseling and support programs for children coping with grief, naming Emma as its first executive director. She tried to refuse the spotlight, but Jonathan reminded her that changing one life was wonderful, changing thousands would be extraordinary. Months later, flowers bloomed across the once empty garden behind Blackwood Manor. Lily laughed as she ran through the paths with her father close behind. The mansion that had once been filled with silence now overflowed with warmth, family dinners, bedtime stories, and hope. Jonathan often said the greatest investment he ever made wasn't another hotel or company. It was keeping the promise of one uninterrupted hour every day with his daughter. And Emma remained part of the family, not because she performed a miracle, but because she reminded them that healing begins with patience, kindness, and simply refusing to give up on someone who is hurting. Sometimes the impossible isn't changing another person's heart. Sometimes it's choosing to stay when everyone else walks away. That simple choice transformed a lonely little girl, reunited a father with his daughter, defeated greed, and proved that love will always be more powerful than wealth. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who believes kindness can still change lives. Together, we'll continue bringing you powerful stories of hope, family, and unforgettable second chances.